Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on March the 7th in the year of our Lord 2026. And as usual, I have a ton of good information for you tonight. So let's just jump over here to my channel on Rumble, Murtech on Rumble. Let's slide down here. This is the live stream we're watching tonight. We're going through episode 1851. Okay, so let's jump in here and let me pause that. Hi, Debbie BS. I'm so glad you joined us. Alrighty, let's slide down here and click the Show More button to expand out the description box. And we have information from Adogg, Doug in Exile, Megyn Kelly, and Robert Gouveia. But before we get into that, I do have a bunch of shout-outs to give out. May B. Joshua just started following my channel. Brenda60M just started following my channel. RM Rumble 1623 just started following my channel. Thomas Flay just started following my channel. And Rahi266 just started following my channel. And Ma Elena 1 just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in and I hope you enjoy the content. All right, let me slide down here, and Real News DFW and Debbie BS reposted my episode 1850 from last night. Jeanette J66 commented on my daily news wrap-up from last night. TTR71 and BS There Alone commented on my short, Trump approval equals great. Uncloudy, Real News DFW, Just Me VLT, Cottonball 31, and Brenda 60M commented on my episode 1850. Debbie BS commented on my extra 632C. Greta 100 and Debbie BS commented on my extra 633A. Greta 100 and Debbie BS commented on my extra 633B. And Debbie BS commented on my extra 633C. And maybe Joshua commented on my AI factor with Iran. Okay, so thank you very much, folks, for reposting my videos. Thank you for your comments. I greatly appreciate your feedback, and I enjoy reading your input. So let me give this a thumbs up. Boom. Okay. All right. There we go. And right here, this video you're watching, if you just scroll down and give me a thumbs up on that, it would be fantastic. Absolutely. Looks like we got another notification here. Well, there we have it. I'm going to copy that into a comment right now. Okay. Let me just make a new comment right here because I think that's important to give people a shout out. Okay, I got to clean this up just a little bit. Boom. Okay, looks like Tahiti Wave just started following my channel 27 minutes ago. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you very much, Tahiti Wave. I appreciate that so much. I hope you're watching. I hope you tuned in. I hope you enjoy this content. Okay, folks, I've got 14 people watching, looks like already, 15 people now. If you haven't given me a chat right here, like Debbie BS and Susie Poll 2016, if you haven't given me a chat this month, please, just give me a thumbs up or a hi or whatever. I just need one more chat to meet my requirement for Rumble Studios so that they will start promoting my content out more so people can actually have the opportunity to hear the truth for a change. What a concept. Okay, here we go. Adogg. Ilhan Omar humiliated and gets deportation notice as 157 Democrats betray her over threatening Trump. That sounds interesting. Let's see what he has to say about that.
Omar. And now she is pissed off after 157 Democrats in Congress just officially turned on her. Of course, her and Thomas Masson, Ro Khanna, whatever that woman's name is trying to stop President Trump, from doing what he's doing and stuff. Because obviously, it seems like that, Ilhan and Omar pretty much love the Iran Supreme leaders. It's like they love them. So, like I said, no matter what President Trump do, Democrats is going to find something wrong about it. So now President Trump, so they saying President Trump should have told them. So why didn't Barack Obama have to say anything when he bombed Libya? Like, why he didn't say anything? Even Nancy Pelosi came out, she even said on video that, he didn't have to, that Obama didn't have to check in with Congress or tell them. He just did it just to be doing it. So like I said, I really just don't get it, man. It just, the hate these people have for President Trump is just freaking disgusting. And Ilhan Omar already been mad anyway after President Trump just called for her to be deported. And then Nancy Mace came out the other day, which I put towards the end of this video in case y'all didn't see it. Nancy Mace said they're getting ready to deport Ilhan Omar. So right now, she's just trying to turn up. She's screaming. She's, still out there till this day, still wishing death on President Trump with all these death threats. Her, and then you got old ghetto Democrat Jasmine Crockett out here doing the same thing, blaming white people and blaming Republicans and blaming President Trump because she just lost. And yet, to remind you, she lost to another Democrat, but she's still blaming white people. I'm telling you, this stuff is crazy. But please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to the one that always watches the entire video. I appreciate all of you. So please let me know in the comment section that you did stay to the end. Now, let's dive straight into this. Before we get into Ilhan Omar, I want to just show you the hypocrisy of these Democrats. Look at AOC right here. It's a shame on them. Nancy Pelosi, Maggie Goodlander, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Aryana Presley, and AOC all voted no to releasing the name of Congress that abused women and used taxpayer dollars to cover it up. So if you realize that, you remember they was begging for the Epstein file not because they cared about the victim, this is because they just want to see if they can catch Donald Trump in something. So listen to what AOC said about this.
Don't care about who's caught up in the Epstein stuff.
Now she don't care who's caught up in the Epstein stuff, but yet her, Ilhan Omar, all the Democrats been crying. Oh, Donald Trump won't release the Epstein file. Then when he do, now she don't care. Look at this.
Don't care about who's caught up in the Epstein stuff.
Oh, wow.
I could not care less. If you are implicated in it, if you are caught up in it, there are a lot of people who are victims, and there needs to be justice in these situations.
So now she don't care. But then a person released this, said AOC has demanded the release of the Epstein's file, yet when it came to releasing the SH records inside Congress, she voted no. Why did she vote no? Why? Why did Ilhan Omar vote no? Well, not Ilhan Omar, I meant AOC. Why did she vote no? But they was demanding the file. But let's move on for that. I'm just showing you the hypocrisy of these people. So salute to John Kennedy, man. I'm telling you, this man, John Kennedy, he should have been a comedian. This man is funny. I want y'all to check out what he said about Ilhan Omar. He pretty much was telling Sean Hannity, said, Sean, in my words of Congresswoman Omar, I love you like a brother. So you're pretty much saying that, she loved her brother because she married her brother. It's just the way he used his words. But let's check out, what Kennedy had to say.
Sean, in the words of Congresswoman Omar, I love you like a brother. and I want you to understand, I'm not trying to dodge your question. I just want to answer it in a little different way. I don't hate anyone, but I will shed no tears for the Ayatollah Khomeini. He won the coin toss, and he elected to receive. And boy, did he receive. May he rest in pieces.
Wow. He said, may he rest in pieces. Now, you heard what, Senator Kennedy had to say about this, but yet you got Ilhan Omar and these Democrats mad because President Trump did it. And President Trump made a post the other day on ABC saying, hey, I got him before he got me. President Trump said that this, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei tried to take him out twice. That's what President Trump said. He tried to take him out twice. And so after that, President Trump said, hey, I got him before he got me, but yet you got Ilhan Omar to mad. But let it would have been on the other side. Let it would have been President Trump that happened to. They'll be celebrating right now. They'll be celebrating because that's what they wanted to happen.
Died with the blood of millions of people under his fingernails. Number two, To defeat your adversaries in today's world, you have to have military power, but it takes more than military power. You have to have political will. I have watched 5, 6, 7 presidents refuse to stand up to the Ayatollah. President Trump has. He's got political will. He's got oranges. And like him or dislike him, the world is safer today because of what he has done. Number 3, any fair-minded person has to believe that the people running Iran are religious zealots. They are nuts. Any fair-minded person has to believe, has to know that Iran was never going to stop its quest to get a nuclear weapon. Any fair-minded person has to conclude that if the religious zealots, who are 10 exits past normal, ever get a nuclear warhead, they're going to use it.
Yep.
I don't want America to be the world's policeman. I don't want the religious nuts in Iran to be either. And that's why we did not start a war. We're trying to stop a war.
So salute the Kennedy. So y'all heard exactly what he had to say. Now we'll get back to Ilhan Omar in just a second, but I just want to show y'all the hypocrisy of these Democrats. Look at this. It's a Hakeem Jeffries has a meltdown when asked why Barack Obama didn't need congressional approval to bomb Libya for many months. I think he bombed it for about 7 months to be exact. I think that's what it was for several months. But Democrats now demand President Trump to get it for a few weeks of strikes on Iran. Jeffrey got mad and filibustered, but that's what I'm talking about. They always want to make excuses that now Barack Obama did it. It wasn't no problem, no backlash, nothing. They didn't question him or nothing. But since they hate President Trump, why didn't President Trump say anything to us? And that's the thing. President Trump didn't even have to say anything because Ilhan Omar warned Iran 2 days before President Trump struck Iran. She warned them, so she should be in jail for treason. So let's check this out and let me just show y'all what I'm talking about. And we're going to get right back on Ilhan Omar.
Thank you, Leader Jeffries. Back in 2011, Nancy Pelosi said that then President Obama didn't need congressional approval to bomb Libya. Now House Democrats say President Trump needs that approval to bomb Iran. What's the difference?
Well, obviously, Libya and the circumstances connected to that were very different than the circumstance that we face.
It was different. What you mean it was different? No, it wasn't. Just like you said, Obama didn't ask and President Trump didn't ask. So what the hell is different about that? What's different? Oh, it's different because it was Barack Obama and it's Donald Trump. Y'all love Barack Obama, but y'all hate Donald Trump. So that's the difference right there. Okay.
In Iran right now, I mean, I don't even understand the genesis or basis of that question.
You don't understand it.
Not asking it in good faith.
Libya went on for 7 months.
As I've indicated, first of all, it was not in Congress at the time. So we're dealing with.
So now he's saying that, he gonna let Obama get through with it because he was not in Congress at the time. What the hell they got to do if you was in Congress or not? He said, what's the difference if Obama didn't need it and didn't check in with y'all or Congress or anything, and he just did it on his own and nobody said anything? So now y'all demanding President Trump do it just so he can tell y'all, and then y'all will go on y'all social media or even on CNN and blurt everything he telling y'all because y'all already don't like him, so you're going to want people to know. You're going to want to make President Trump mad. So it's just crazy.
What we're dealing with right now, which is a catastrophic, endless war, as Donald Trump has characterized it, without any justification that there was going to be a preeminent assault.
Endless war. It's been going on a week, yeah. Okay. Endless war. Amazing.
Or attack on the United States of America, either in our homeland or as it relates to our interests in the Middle East. The administration is not even pretending like they have intelligence or information at this point.
If you notice, he's just talking about Trump and Trump's administration, but he ain't talking about none about Barack Obama. He just asked you, Barack Obama didn't get, permission or whatever. He just did it on his own. But yet, Hakeem Jeffries, the dollar store Barack Obama, he just want to talk about Trump. That's just what it is. They hate Donald Trump. That's just what it is.
Publicly. And certainly there's been nothing that has been presented to us privately to justify a preemptive strike of this nature that has triggered an all-out war in the Middle East. And by the way, Donald Trump is the one who said in the aftermath of the 12-day war that Iran's nuclear program has been completely and totally obliterated. Not my words, his words. So was he lying to the American people then, or is he lying now?
Boy, I tell you the hate.
Madam Speaker, Madam Leader.
So here you go right here back then when they were asking Nancy Pelosi about Barack Obama bombing Libya and bombing these countries and not needing congressional approval or anything like that. But yet they want to make Donald Trump check in, but not Barack Obama. Oh, okay.
You're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress on Libya?
Yes.
She said yes. So that's what I'm talking about right here. It just go to show you the hypocrisy of these people. And this is what this woman did 2 days. This is what she wrote 2 days before the strikes on Iran. Look at it. Iraq was attacked by the U.S. during Ramadan. And it is sickening to know that the U.S. is again going to attack Iran during Ramadan. So she pretty much was telling right here. So they saying, well, why President Trump don't check in with us? Because of stuff like this. We already know Ilhan, Omar, Hakeem Jeffrey, all the Democrats don't like Donald Trump. If he tell them anything, they're going to blurt it out. And look, I don't know how Ilhan Omar found out about what President Trump was going to do, but you see, she told it right here. This was 2 days before the strikes on Iran. Iraq was attacked by the U.S. during Ramadan. It's sickening to know that the U.S. is again going to attack Iran during Ramadan. The U.S. apparently loves to strike Muslim countries during Ramadan, and I am convinced it isn't what these countries have done to violate international law, but about who they worship. So it just go to show you, man. And she got fact check right here. The Iraq invasion began on March 20, 2003, and major comeback operations were declared over on May 1st, months before Ramadan that year. Survey also showed that in Iran, only about 37% of the population identifies as Muslim, while nearly half describe themselves as non-religion. So she got fact-checked. So that's what I'm talking about. So she should be, under investigation just for doing that. So, and then not only that, look what she went on the House floor and said. She said, this week, the House will be voting on the War Powers Resolution authored by Connor and Thomas Massey. I will be voting yes to stop U.S. involvement in another illegal forever war. So now they're trying to stop President Trump, trying to stop him from doing what he's doing. They're trying to control him, and it's not going to work. Even Laura Loomer said that Ilhan Omar praised Thomas Massey's policies of limiting President Trump's powers. So that's what she's trying to do, but it didn't get far. So here she go right here on the House floor, pretty much saying she's trying to block President Trump's actions against Iran. Many Americans say enough is enough and argue she should be deported immediately, which I told y'all the other day, that's what they working on now. And I had heard she had got some, had got them papers as well, them deportation papers. And like I said, she just been lashing out. And like I said, many Americans say enough is enough and argue she should be deported immediately. And it's just crazy that she's taking up for these supreme leaders who don't like American people. They don't like that. What they always say, death to America. They don't been killing Americans for the longest. But yet she's trying to fight for them all because she hates Trump. I told you if it was like the Democrats were still in office, let's say it would have been Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. Joe Biden them did exactly what President Trump is doing right now. Democrats will be praising Joe Biden and Kamala Harris right now. They will be praising them. All because they hate Trump. It doesn't matter what this man do. It don't matter what he do. They still gonna hate him. So here she go on the floor. Look at this.
Unilaterally dragging this nation into an illegal and unjustified war with Iran. As someone who survived the horrors of war, I know that bombs do not build peace or create stability. Military strikes will not make us safer. They will inflame tensions and push the region further into chaos. Every time we abandon diplomacy, we choose destruction. We know who will bear the costs of this decision: innocent civilians caught in the crossfire and young service members sent into harm's way. The American people are exhausted by endless wars built on false promises and paid for with American and foreign lives. Congress must reassert its constitutional authority. I urge my colleagues to vote yes to stop U.S. involvement in another illegal forever war. Thank you, and I yield back.
This woman is ridiculous. She want a word about that, but yet she been stealing money from. It's so funny to me that she always say, "Well, the American people don't want this, the American people," but yet you got the Iranians that's in the streets celebrating that President Trump did what he did. They are crying. So now she can't use, well, you know, the Iranian people, they mad. They done started a riot over what President Trump did. They can't use that story. Because when you see the videos, the Iranians, they are happy. They are celebrating. They are crying in their house. They thanking President Trump. I mean, it's all over the internet. The only people mad is the Democrats. So now she want to say, well, the American people, where's the American people that's mad? Only the American people that mad is y'all Democrats. Y'all are the one mad because y'all want Donald Trump to fail. And he's not failing. That's why his approval rating is still shooting up. You keep saying the American people mad at him, but you can't show proof that the American people mad at him. Where's the proof? You just talking to be talking. Now look, she said that the wars resolution, which she wanted Thomas Massey and I think Ro Khanna thing to go through, but it failed. Ilhan Omar, it failed. Look at this. Thomas Massey's war powers resolution failed after 4 House Democrats joined all but 2 House Republicans in voting against the measure. Massey's resolution was co-sponsored by Ilhan Omar, AOC, Ro Khanna, and Rashida Tlaib. It's remarkable that Massey's Trump hate became so extreme that even 4 House Democrats couldn't stomach it. So that speech that she had on the floor didn't get her nowhere. So now you might well pack your bags and head back to Somalia. Pack your bags and go. So now that was right after that Ilhan Omar made that speech, and now it failed. You can see it right here. Thomas Massey War Power Resolution failed after 4 House Democrats joined all but 2 House Republicans in voting against the measure. Massive resolution was co-sponsored. Because we know Ilhan Omar, AOC, all of them came up with this. Let's try to come up with something to stop Donald Trump, and it failed. Didn't get you anywhere. And not only that, say breaking, the U.S. House had just overwhelmingly voted to officially declare Iran as the largest state sponsor of terrorism, 372 to 53. Of course, 53 Democrats voted no, but look at how many Democrats voted yes. 157 voted yes. Of course, 53 voted no, because where Ilhan Omar wanted was this whole 157 to be over here with a no it or the nay. That's what she wanted that at, but she even got 157 Democrats that turned on her, that didn't agree with what she was saying, and still said, yeah. So let's read that again. The U.S. House had just overwhelmingly voted to officially declare Iran as the largest state sponsor of terrorism, which, like I said, Ilhan Omar tried to get them to vote no. That's what she tried to get them to vote no. And of course, out of the 53, of course, AOC, Ilhan Omar, and all of them, Ro Khanna, all of them voted no. So they just go to show you that they care about these supreme leaders who don't like the American people. The Democrat Party is the party of terrorism. So she lost that debate. So we get.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that right there, and let me remind you here that this video comes from the real Adogg. I am subscribed to his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here. And I've been doing some chatting here with M41 Coco and Susie Poll 2016 and Debbie BS. If you haven't chatted with, let me remind you, if you haven't chatted with me this month, just give me just one chat, just a high five or a wave or thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever. Okay, let's see what Doug in Exile has to say. Iran new leaders wiped out in massive campaign, more footage. Okay, well, Doug, let's check this out then.
Money, I've got no reason to pump you guys up with la, 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 everything's great. We all know that war is brutal. But we have unconfirmed reports from Iranian Grand Ayatollah Abdullah Javadi Amoli has been in a U.S. airstrike. I'm still going to continue to report on this because I believe that our information that we're getting on this stuff is pretty good. Remember, Trump asked Israel to take this guy out. Cleric recently issued a jihad calling for the shedding of the blood of President Trump and Zionists. That's what they call people who support Israel. They call them Zionists. At this stage, official confirmation has not yet been provided, and major international outlets have not verified the claim. This is a developing story, but I do believe it's true because Trump asked Israel for the attack. Here's the attack on camera. You tell me if you think.
پیشگاه امت اسلامی خاندان مشرف و معظم این بزرگ.
There's good news. This whole episode is going to be about the war of propaganda on both sides. When I say both sides, doesn't mean they're equally doing it. America and Israel do have branding. I'll call it branding because none of them are outright lying to you. So this is my challenge to you. If you think that guy that we just now claimed he's eliminated, and we have it from unconfirmed sources, and I will bet you it will be confirmed that he was actually eliminated. If he's not eliminated, then it's propaganda. If he is eliminated, then it's true fact. We're going to find out. But in the meanwhile, I've got this chapter ad read. Many of you guys, you're paying just thousands of dollars too much for Medicare. And I don't like my audience losing money.
Okay, let me go ahead and get it past this.
My encryption official since House Republicans message. The Iranian regime has been at war with America since 1979. So that's our statement on this war from the House Republicans. From the Iranian hostage crisis to the modern day ballistic missile attacks on our bases, the axis of resistance only understands one thing: strength. Never forget the blood on their hands. 1979, 52 Americans held hostage for 444 days, released by Reagan, only taken because of weak isolationism of Jimmy Carter. 1983, 241 Marines killed in Beirut Marine barracks bombing. 2003 to 2011, the IGRC funded IEDs killed 600 U.S. troops in Iraq, and I know some of those troops. October 7th, 2023, 46 Americans killed by a Iran-backed Hamas. You guys forget they took our hostages also on October 7th, 2023. Those are acts of war, and of course, assassination attempts on Trump. Now we're going to go into the propaganda war. This is footage released. This is the actual account here. Just in, Iran has launched heavy attacks on Israel's supermarket, energy and gasoline pumps that report major casualties. This is fake news. How do you know? It's a supermarket in Mexico. There's Spanish audios even heard. This. If you pause on any of these products, I don't know if I can get the actual thing up here, but these, you can see these chips. The labeling is all in Spanish. This is footage from, and they're releasing it as if it is Israel being bombed. It's in Spanish. All of the signs, all of the products. That's not an Israeli market. This is a propaganda war. Now, I have to admit, we have our own stuff. This is released. This is a piece of footage of all of our wins shooting up Iranian military from our White House released this. Kaboom. I'm going to turn down that song so I don't get a copyright strike. But as you can see, these are major military ordinances being shot. We have the satellite images, we have the drone images, and then we have them actually being shot. This is legit footage from our government. It is technically war propaganda, but it also happens to be true. These are actual successful missions. This is a false video here, and this account should indeed be banned. This is Iran HD claiming this is one of our service women. She's getting a flag when she's crying. And it has an emotional song with the flag where she's getting her kids. This says, "Your husband died in Iran while serving Israel and killing babies. We brought you his underwear and undershirt." That's a terrible thing to say to our military. And that's the kind of stuff that Iran's HD propaganda is sending out. This is actual footage of a scripted video from 2024, 2 years ago. So this is not confirmed footage. This is propaganda. This is what I mean. This one cracked me up. This one is from Iran Military News. It's a picture of, I don't know who this is, Billie Eilish in her underwear. This says, stunning in pink, loving this bold and glamorous look of Billie Eilish. But look at the account. It's Iran Military News. They forgot to switch their account. So they're also doing this kind of cheesecake on another account where they get money, spamming. But they didn't switch their account in Twitter. They accidentally posted this under the Iran Military News of Billie Eilish in her underwear. So that's how sloppy and dumb the propaganda war is. But the good news is Keir Starmer is signaling that UK is changing their position and willing to do strikes on Iraq. Watch this footage here. This is UK is about to join their longtime ally, the U.S. From forbidding it, he put his finger in the air and saw where the wind is going, that we're winning and the West is winning, and this is getting popular.
The long-standing British position is that the best way forward for the regime and the world is a negotiated settlement with Iran where they give up their nuclear ambitions. Now, that's why I took the decision that the UK would not join the initial strikes on Iran by the US and Israel. Now, that decision was deliberate. It was in the national interest.
It was also wrong, because now he's going to change his mind.
And I stand by it. But when Iran started attacking countries around the Gulf and the wider region, the situation changed. Iran has now fired drones and missiles at 10 countries that did not attack them.
By the way, it's 12 countries now. I'll show you the latest missile launch by Iran. Keir Starmer, you're a coward and a duplicitous jerk, but thank you for finally coming around to the right answer. I do expect UK as one of our longtime strongest allies since World War II. Of course, they're going to come on our side. It just took Keir Starmer a little while to figure it out that Iran were the bad guys. Now he knows. Breaking, Lebanon says it will arrest all members of Iran's IRGC present in the country. This is huge. So Lebanon has their own Hezbollah problem of them firing missiles at Israel. Some of them are Muslim countries turning against the Iran Ayatollahs, right? Because Ayatollah is a bridge too far. Just because you're a Muslim country doesn't mean that you agree with the Ayatollah, a psychotic Islamic death cult. It's kind of like even in Christianity, you can find us fighting each other. You know, I'm Reformed Presbyterian. You know, we're all united, say, against gay marriage or whatever, and we'll be united with the Catholics until someone asks us, you know, if the Pope is the father of the church, and suddenly we'll start the Reformation all over and go to war with each other. Or the Eastern Orthodox and the Catholics are all united until you bring up the great schism that divided them. Or if you're a Baptist, and I go, we believe in infant baptism, and a Baptist will go, no, has to be an adult, has to be da-da-da. We can fight each other. It's the same thing with Islam. At some point, they're going to, find conflict with each other. Here's Lebanon, just banned all IRGC activity in the country and vowed to arrest any guard members. Here's a Lebanon clip.
المعلومات المتزايدة حول وجود عناصر من الحرس الثوري.
Okay, that's not in English, but Lebanon is just like the UK. They smelled who the winning side is. And they're going, hey, how about we don't support the Ayatollah, the IRGC anymore? Here's why. Iran missiles just struck an oil refinery in Bahrain. Bahrain is completely uninvolved in this war. So why is Iran bombing it? Because they're our ally. We're going to show the clip. Oil refinery in Bahrain. They're not involved. They're not Zionists. They're not Muslim. If anything, they're Muslim, but they're moderate. They're just not psychotic, death cult, weirdo Ayatollah Muslim. So this is the 12th. We're getting into the 12th country coming up. This oil refinery, completely uninvolved. We got more. This is breaking. Lebanese Christians and Druze, and I met these guys while I was in Israel on the Lebanon border. Lebanese Christians and Druze are refusing to take anyone from Hezbollah's stronghold of Daya, southern Beirut. So they're not taking their refugees. They're not taking them to the country. These are all little camps going all the way out to the horizon of Hezbollah. Nope, not allowed in the country. Pick the wrong side. I'm going to get into this a little bit because I'm trying to describe to you the philosophical origins in this war. And this is why it's so easy to get it wrong, including this kind of wrong from Tucker Carlson. Tucker says, could this be a religious war designed to rebuild the third temple on the ashes of Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade? I hope not. He's so wrong. This is such a bad take, such a false take, and we'll prove it wrong right here because all that stuff I've been showing you backs this up, what I'm going to say, what this is going to say, actually. I'll have this guy say it. If it's a religious war, why is Iran attacking its Gulf neighbors who are also Muslim? Do you see that? Iran just spewed out 12 bombings. 12 countries it's bombing. Only one of them is Israel. The other 11 are all Muslim. Why is Iran bombing Muslim countries if it's a religious war and it's just done in the name of Israel and we're on Israel's side? We're Christians, they're Jews, whatever. This is not a Zionist war, guys. That's fake news and that's false. And that's what's being pumped out to my audience right now, that this is a Jew war and our soldiers are dying for Jews and Iran and not to defend us. This is an ideological war, not a religious war. True. Tucker is trying to pit Christians and Muslims against the Jews. True. He knows exactly what he's doing. And he also knows this was a KGB Russian tactic. Also true. And again, my warning is a Tucker. He's a brother in the Lord. I want him to come over to the good guys, to the right side. But how does he explain this? Lebanese Christians and Druze are refusing to take anyone from Hezbollah stronghold in Beirut. You see that? Christians and Muslims are united against Hezbollah. Jews and Muslims are united against Hezbollah. How else do you explain, as the cheering on of Iran around the world, you'll see 3 flags, the new Iran flag, America, and an Israel flag. How do you explain that if this is a religious war? Tucker, it's not a religious war. That's how you explain it. And finally, this last clip. Breaking, Iran has struck Azerbaijan's Nakhchivan International Airport. This marks the 12th country they've attacked in the region. This is what I mean. This is another, there's a lot of Muslims in that thing. So how do you explain this? The 12th country, Iran, is just spraying out. They're a death cult. I hope you guys can appreciate a little bit of clarity on this issue and subscribe to my channel, of course, but you don't have to subscribe. I'll just take your views. I appreciate that you views. I'm bringing you clarity on this war from an ideological standpoint because there's so much propaganda out there. And I hope you can see that my news is very different than propaganda. I'm making the case. Call chapter 631-961-8696 because you're probably in the wrong Medicare plan and I can save you thousands of dollars.
Okay, there we have it, folks. And that's why I share his information, because he comes out with the facts, not propaganda like you would hear on the mainstream media. And that's why I share his information. All right, this does come from Doug in Exile. I am subscribed to his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. I do want to share some information here from Rumble Premium, and then we'll get right back to the information.
If you haven't already, make sure you download the Rumble
If this
app.
takes off, it'll be fantastic.
It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected to the content you want.
Once you've got it, search for my channel and hit follow. That way, you'll get a notification every time we go live. No missed shows, no extra steps.
You can grab it right now using the link in the description or the pinned live chat. Download it to your phone, and you're ready to go.
And if you prefer watching on the big screen, Rumble is available on all major streaming devices and smart TVs. Just search for Rumble, follow the channel, and be part of the action.
Alrighty, let's see what Megyn Kelly has to say here. Watch Gavin Newsom melt down when asked what his main political project is with Jesse Kelly. I don't know if Jesse Kelly is in relation to Megyn Kelly, but let's check this out.
While we're on the politics front, I do want to play that Gavin Newsom soundbite for you, okay? He was on the Adam Friedland show. I'm not familiar, but I'm assuming it's a left-wing podcast. And he was asked a very simple question that any politician should be able to answer. Look at how that went, SOT 16.
What is your defined political project? Like what throughout your career and like
that.
right now? Like what is the thing you want to accomplish like politically?
I don't
have in your life.
I don't have like a brand. I don't have a tag, "Make America Great," or the Great Society, or something like Medicare for all the billionaires. But but for me, no bullshit. It's just standing up for ideals, striking out against injustice. It defines my why in every way, shape, form. Stand up for ideals, strike out against injustice. I'm a Sarge Shriver Democrat. I'm into that whole '60s, the vernacular of the '60s, solving for ignorance and poverty and disease, and the spirit of the '60s, and the spirit of King, and and how the nonviolent movement, and Gandhi, and Havel, and Mandela, that moral authority, that whole space. That's the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
and that's me. That's my dad. That's my mom. That's the book, and that's my why.
So if you had to define it, like,
I need your help to define
and you get.
Well, you tell
X.
me. You're better at this.
I don't know. I don't know who you.
I just gave you my why, but how do you translate that into human?
What? So if you say like make an appeal to a voter, right? Say if you vote for me, you get X. Like what in a kind of concise, tangible sense, talking to a regular guy.
Yeah, no.
What is that?
I've struggled with being able to communicate. I told you what my why is and why I'm here, and I mean that, and and that's ingrained in every aspect of my life, and it connects the dots.
You do it. I don't know what your shit is. But Gandhi and Nelson Mandela and Sarge Shriver and Zeitgeist. I'm not good at this. Jesse.
Megyn,
it's not going well.
I see. This is the thing. I can't put myself in the mind of a Democrat. I've tried for the Democrat voter. I mean, I've tried before, and I guess if I thought like one, I would be one. I can't decide if Gavin Newsom is somebody who we should be afraid of because this guy could easily win the White House, or if he just is too slick and too rehearsed and too just what you just played right there. It's like Gandhi, man. Is that really appealing to people? I mean, obviously, I find it to be so gross and stupid. And like, I mean, you're laughing. Me too. I couldn't stop laughing. I'm sorry. I was laughing over your clip. It's so hilarious and dumb. But oftentimes, Democrat voters like that kind of thing. I don't know what to say. To me, I look at this guy and I think he's failing to launch. I don't think he is taking off, and he's going to be the nominee the way so many, myself included, thought he probably was maybe 6 months ago. I'm watching this podcast circuit, and he comes off as too cute by half. He never says anything with the hand motions, and it's like Gandhi and King, man. It's just he used the word zeitgeist. Who talks like this? But
you know who he reminds me of? I told this story before, but there was a woman that they hired at Fox News who shall remain nameless. Stunning, absolutely stunning, very, very beautiful woman. And she didn't have the reporting chops to be hired at Fox, but she was gorgeous. And she was on the air one time and she referred to Greg Jarrett, who she was introducing. And she was supposed to say, and it was in the prompter, defense attorney, like Fox News anchor and defense attorney, Greg Jarrett. And instead she said, Secretary of Defense, Greg Jarrett, which no, he isn't, and he never has been. And then a makeup artist once told me about a story about how she was getting ready in the makeup room one time, getting ready for a show, and really overwhelmed with the amount of paper that they were bringing her to read. She's kind of in a panic. And my makeup artist was like, sweetheart, you give me those papers. We are putting those papers down. You don't look at those papers. You just go out there. You be you. You look great. And you charm everybody. And it was great advice. These, honestly, hair and makeup, they're a bunch of geniuses. They know they're the best producers in the industry. And they knew, like, she wasn't ready for prime time. That's not why Fox hired her, by the way. She was there to read the prompter and not to do in-depth interviews or try to really provide smart analysis. Perfectly lovely person, by the way. And that's the vibe I get off of Gavin Newsom. Sweetheart, you give me those papers. You just keep saying zeitgeist. You went on the wrong podcast, and your team should have better served you.
Well, one thing, there is something that I do know that applies to everybody, Democrats and Republicans. I understand politicians try to not really They try to not have to take a position on anything. So you don't want to put something bad on camera. You don't want to turn people off. You don't want to put something bad on camera. Your opponent's going to run in commercials. I got that. I get the game. Everyone here listening gets the game. We all understand the way the game is played. At the same time, though, you have to give the people something that makes them inspired. Donald Trump's actually a great example of this. You knew you were going to get deportations with Donald Trump. He never played anybody, never played any games with that. He stood up at every single rally. We're going to get mass deportations. We're going to get mass deportations. We're going to get mass deportations over and over and over and over again. He may have been a little wishy-washy on this issue or that issue, but every voter in the United States of America knew people were going to get deported if Donald Trump was elected. Everybody knew that whole thing. You have to take a stance on something, or nothing inspires people to go vote for you. You're not running on Zeitgeist and Gandhi and walking into the White House. It's not going to happen, because your opponent's going to probably be J.D. Vance, and he's going to be standing up there talking about manufacturing jobs and deporting foreigners and things like that. And you're going to be, hey, Gandhi, man. And it's just not going to work.
Oh, my God. It's so great. I mean, it's lovely to see these previews of how things are going to go for us over the next couple of years. That's why it's interesting to watch. Here's a little bit more on his book tour. And this is the best one. This is the best. He sits down with Katie Couric. And this, I mentioned at the top of the show, and she used to be one of our most respected journalists in America. She was the anchor of the CBS Evening News back when that mattered for 5 years. She was the darling of the Today Show. And things have changed. Here she is across from Gavin on Thursday.
Do you have a Zoolander problem?
No, Jesus. Yeah, Zoolander.
Are you just ridiculously good looking, as Vogue said?
Hardly.
No, seriously, what do you do about that?
You don't do anything about it, because if you're going to do something about it, then you're bullshitting people. You know what? I am who I am. And it's fine. You don't have to like me. Or maybe you like a slick person. I don't know. Whatever. It's okay.
But the reason why I brought it up because you talked about being authentic, and I think it sometimes works against you.
Yeah, it's just who I am. It's just who I am.
It's who he is, Jesse. He's just too good, ridiculously good looking. Maybe he stumbled upon his slogan. Maybe that could be the thing that is his what you want to accomplish, your defined political project. Too good looking to run.
He did. Yeah, he did the job interview thing, Megyn, where the boss asks you when you're trying to get the job, tell me something negative about you. And you're like, I just care too much. I work too hard. maybe that's the thing. But and what's wild, Megyn? Think about this. He's doing the commie podcast circuit now, where he could be more frank about things, because this is a long race. It's a couple of years until 2028. Now is the time where you could be frank about this or that, or whatever your policy positions, whatever you're going for. And even now, you can't drill the guy down on anything whatsoever. I don't understand the strategy. I don't see how it works.
You tell me, because I feel like any normal man would know how to answer that question, which is, you should be self-deprecating. You should say something modest about yourself to make yourself not seem like an arrogant, vain prick, which is how a lot of people view him. But instead, he went with, it's just who I am. Not it. I'm just going to, how would Jesse Kelly? Well, Jesse Kelly compliments himself jokingly all the time, but this is part of your shtick. This is not a part of a Gavin Newsom shtick. How would you have advised Gavin Newsom to answer that question?
I would advise Gavin Newsom that he's not going to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin if the normal guy who's not a Republican, he's not a Democrat, he's just a normal dude, watches football on Saturday. If normal guy can't relate to you at all and doesn't find you appealing at all, you have no chance whatsoever. Donald Trump throwing on a hard hat or a McDonald's apron and handing out fries, these may be a bit ham-fisted political stunts, but they made normies, normal people in critical swing states feel like, okay, at least he cares enough to pretend to be a little bit like me. Gavin Newsom is going to have to drop the hair gel. He's going to have to drop this slick California style, and he's going to have to spend a lot of time in the Midwest. And look, I love being in California too. The weather's beautiful, the food is great, but you're going to have to leave, and you're going to have to spend some time in Iowa and get dirtied up a little bit. I'll put it that way.
Think about this. In 2006, $20,000.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there. She's going into a commercial here, so let me click on the Rumble link and show you that this does come from Megyn Kelly, and I'll tell you what, I just had to share that with you about Gavin Newsom. I mean, this guy, there are people that are actually going to vote for him. A lot of people, millions of people vote for him. I mean, even after he destroyed California, I mean, they had a surplus in their budget. Now they're like, I think I've heard billions of dollars deficit in their budget, and nothing has gotten done. There's more homeless now than there were then. I think that there maybe has been one, I think I've heard that there's been one building permit issued in that Palisades fire. Unfreaking believable. Well, it's been a year and a half. Unbelievable. They destroy the place, and you know what? Let's just keep voting Democrat. Let's just keep voting Democrat, because, you know, we just like being screwed, okay? All right, this video does come from Megyn Kelly. I'm following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All righty then. Let me jump over here and share my creator program benchmarks. I've hit everything except total unique chatters this month. I need somebody that has not chatted with me, giving me a chat. I got 26 people watching right now. I've got 26 people watching, and the situation is I only need 20 new people. So somebody out there that's watching right now is not giving me a chat. So just give me, you know, a wave or a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a hi or you suck or whatever. That would be great. I just need one more. And then Rumble will start promoting my information out to more people so they can hear the truth. And that's what I'm trying to push here, folks. The truth from a variety of people. The information that you're not going to hear on the mainstream media. Speaking of the truth, let's get back here with Robert Gouveia. Trump wins appeal in refugee fight. Sounds wonderful. Let's take a listen and see what that's all about.
Detriment of our country. Major victory out of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. This is a battle over refugees. President Trump came in. One of the first things he did is he said, no more. We're cutting them off. They don't need to keep coming in here by the boatload. And our government was actually facilitating that process. They had application processes overseas in other countries. I'm a refugee. For what? Well, no. Come in, go apply, and then they would process you and facilitate your entry. Our government was assisting the invasion of our country of so-called refugees, asylees, and all these other people. And now the Ninth Circuit is saying Trump wins. And at the conclusion of this, you're going to see, they say, we recognize the extraordinary implications of this. 100,000 people or so are already in this process, and they're not going to be cut off. Congress wanted to reverse this. They could, but they handed the president tremendous power. The case involves Pasito, Esther, Josephine, Church World Service, Lutheran Community Services. All these NGOs take on these like religious names. Like, no, we're like Catholics for humanity. Like, you're Catholics for humanity. So what does that mean? But anyways, they sued. They said Trump can't do this. And this case originated out of Washington, various locations. And now the Court of Appeals says you guys lose. The president and America wins. On January 20th, 2025, like right as Trump came in, Trump issued Executive Order 14163. It was called Realigning the United States Refugee Admissions Program. The president determined that entry into the United States under the U.S. RAP, we'll see a lot of that. It's called the U.S. Refugee Admissions Program. Okay, we have a whole program set up for this, saying it would be detrimental to the interest of the United States and directed that entry to the United States of refugees be suspended pending further findings. Okay, you're done. Now, in response to that, Marco Rubio and the Department of State suspended all funding for the program. Oh, okay, well, if we're not bringing people in, then you don't need any money. And that happened. Now, pending this review, there was a suspension of funding. There was no processing of applications. If you're already outside the United States, like you're not here, you're out. And all domestic resettlement services for refugees, we were paying to resettle them in here. Insane. So the plaintiffs, the people who we're suing are refugees, so-called, who have been recently admitted to the United States. They're also refugees who have been approved for resettlement in the United States, but are also outside. These are U.S.-based individuals as well, seeking admissions for their family members or their sponsees. Okay, bring in the whole stinking family. And 3 organizations that had cooperative agreements with the State Department, all these churches and whatever, fake religious organizations, they had agreements to provide overseas processing. So our State Department paid them to process the refugees, and domestic resettlement services. So the grift goes to the NGOs. They pay to bring in refugees. They say Trump's orders violates the Refugee Act that Congress passed back in 1980. They said defunding these programs violates the law, violates the APA, and the lower level courts in Washington and elsewhere, they issued 2 injunctions. They said, sorry, Trump, you're not the president. Who do you think you are? We're the president now. They stopped the enforcement or the implementation of any of these executive orders, and they said, turn the money back on and bring them in here. So the court now at the lower level issued those orders. Now the president appeals to the Ninth Circuit, and we're here. So now our task is to determine, were Trump's actions within the authority granted to him under law? Now, whether we agree with those actions is beside the point. Of course, the judge is like, we love these refugees, but the courts don't make those decisions. The wisdom of the policy choices made by the president is not a matter for our consideration. We can't substitute our judicial opinion for the president's. So we conclude, with one exception, the refugees, so-called, have not made the requisite showing that they're likely to succeed on the merits, and so the holds on the executive orders are vacated in large measure, and the president wins. Over the last 4 years, the United States has been inundated with record levels of migration. It's caused some jurisdictions to even declare a state of emergency. It further asserts the U.S. lacks the ability to absorb all these people, and it's compromising resources for Americans, in large part why the president got elected, and he delivered on his promises right out the gate. So based on these assertions and the findings that the entry of refugees would be detrimental, the executive order suspended everything, all entries of refugees, until another finding is made later. This section suspended all decisions on applications. Okay, submit your form, go have your interview, whatever, doesn't matter, you're done. Elections have consequences, as Obama said. There was also limited exceptions to these things, and they set mechanisms for how this all works. Then after the order came down, federal agencies immediately began implementing this executive order. On January 21, the next day, DOS sent an email to its refugee resettlement partners stating that all refugee arrivals were suspended until further notice. All previously booked travel canceled. No new bookings were to be made. All refugee case processing and pre-departure activities must cease. Refugees should not be moved to transit centers, and no new referrals should be made. We don't want any more coming in. The fact that the president decided to suspend all of this does not wholly suspend the program. Like, the program is still in place, but this order is just limiting new people coming in. They made a determination, they put it in writing, and even if we accept the district court's premise that the suspension is indefinite, it's allowed. The law authorizes the president to suspend entry for a period as he shall deem necessary. But the lower courts don't want to read it that way because they want these illegals to stay, these refugees. That is a complete answer to the district court's objection. Not only can we not read into the statute some sort of temporal limitation because you're mad, as the district court did, but the statute is also explicit that a suspension is not subject to any temporal limitation. The Supreme Court considered the same argument, and they found in favor of the executive. And further, even if we were inclined to read a limitation into the law that doesn't exist, this other executive order is talking about a temporary pause. They have to submit new reports after 90 days. There are 4 considerations about resumption of refugees coming in. They consider a bunch of matters, and nothing in the order from the president affects the obligation to consult with the House and the judiciary. And if Congress wants to change this, they can. It's an important part of congressional oversight, and the president is doing it. So if there is a disagreement between Congress and the president, Congress is free to amend the Refugee Act to provide greater direction to the president. Absolutely outstanding. Finally, we will address the ruling that this violates the due process clause of the spouses and the children of refugees. It's like insane. Under this law, a spouse or child of any refugee who qualifies for admission shall be entitled to the same admission status as the refugee. It's called chain migration. One person has to get in. They can bring the whole busload of family members. According to the district court, this law gives the children a procedural protection. They say, well, you're wrong about that there, Judge Bucko. We think that this misreads the statute and the effect of the executive order. We do not read the order to affect the admission statuses, and the law doesn't guarantee entry to them. They're only entitled to the same admission status. Okay, the law says status. They're not entitled to admission. They're entitled to the same admission status. And if one person comes in and their status status is now rejected, that applies to everybody. Even if your refugee has been granted entry, his or her spouse and children may be admissible, but not entitled to entry. They are still subject to other restrictions under other laws. This is made clear by the qualification that the spouse or child shall be entitled to the same only if the spouse or child is admissible. And they can still be barred if the admission cap has already been met. So they're not entitled to carte blanche admission in the United States. Nothing in the order of the president affects the admissibility status of refugees who have already qualified. It affects admission itself. And so we cannot agree with the district court that this order violates the due process clause of the Fifth Amendment for these foreigners. So the dissent says, well, I agree with this magisterial analysis and that it does in fact authorize the president to suspend these admissions. I dissent on 2 points. First, I do not think that we have jurisdiction over their claims to seek the money after they've gotten here. These are simple breach of contract claims. They're seeking money from the federal government. We can't hear those. Those are claims that should be heard in the court of federal claims. Go file elsewhere. And even if we do have jurisdiction, I believe the better reading of the statute is the U.S. has discretion about whether they can fund these services at all. So we'll see what happens here. Both sides might appeal this actually up to the Supreme Court of the United States. He writes separately to highlight what happened in the district court because there's a recent trend that I fear will erode the credibility of the judiciary. It's happening all across the country. To be clear, courts can and should intervene if the president acts illegally. Yeah, we, however, must not be seduced by the temptation of judicial resistance, which is happening everywhere. District courts cannot stand athwart yelling, stop, just because they genuinely believe that they are the last refuge against policies that they deem to be unwise. Otherwise, we risk inching towards an imperial judiciary that lords over the president and Congress and ultimately becomes the most powerful branch in our nation. Now, the Ninth Circuit then explained that its stay order included only a narrow exception for people like Plaintiff Placido. This guy sold all his belongings in anticipation of flying to the United States. He was forced to shelter with his wife and baby in a parking lot in Nairobi after their travel was abruptly canceled. And I'm not a fan of that. I don't want to see a man and his baby hanging outside a tarmac at an airport. We do have humanity here. This is why our disgusting politicians shouldn't enact these policies to the detriment of our country. We shouldn't hang these people out to dry, but we have no choice at this moment. The panel emphasized that those who have strong reliance interests means that they're comparable, and so everybody gets to come in now. Now, despite the stay that expanded the categories, it held that refugees whose travel was canceled before January 20th are not necessarily excluded from the relief and tried to carve out exceptions so that they could still come. So even those that had their travel plans canceled in December 24 during Biden might have been eligible for admission. And this was Joe Biden's scummy plan, is to create all these rules. Alejandro Mayorkas extended TPS status way into the future so that their sick policies could not be reversed by Trump.
All right, there you have it, folks. Let me click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Robert Gouveia. I am following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let me share some information here with you from Rumble Wallet.
They can cancel your accounts, freeze your cards, decide what you're allowed to buy, say, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control, and they use it. That's why financial independence matters more now than ever.
Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for real freedom. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a tech company. Designed for patriots who stand tall, this cap captures the enduring spirit of liberty. The Liberty Bell stands proud. This isn't a credit line they can shut off, it's your wallet, permanently. Yours to protect your future.
Yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Buy digital assets like Tether, Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one secure place. No permission, no middlemen, no cancel button. And when you want to support the creators you actually believe in, you can use the Rumble Wallet app to directly tip content creators securely, instantly, and without interference.
This isn't a credit line they can shut off. It's your wallet, permanently. Yours to protect your future. Yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Rumble Wallet isn't about politics. It's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today. Download Rumble Wallet now and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, true financial freedom.
Okay, folks, I've copied the live chats into a comment here because, as we all know, when this live stream is over, these chats just kind of vaporize into cyberspace. I want to thank Debbie BS, Susie Poll 2016, M41 Coco, Foxy Grandma for your chats. I really appreciate that. I'd like to get one more person to give me a chat tonight. That would be fantastic. Okay, here we go. Boom. All right. There, it's permanent. Okay, let me remind you folks that these videos that I share with you come directly from the producer. I have the link to the videos here in the description box, as well as the link to the producer's channel. So if you want to see what other information these people have, by all means, you have the opportunity to find out right down here in the description box. And these videos that I share with you here are videos that I've posted on Mertech.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic and truth videos. Now, I'd like to share all this information with you, but unfortunately I just don't have the time to do so. And that's why I've put together my daily news wrap-up playlist, where I have 18 videos here and about 10 hours worth of great information. We're going to start off with Benny Johnson. Trump shocks world. Iran has surrendered. Really? Okay. They put this out about 5 hours ago, and I haven't watched it, but I'm going to watch it with you when I get my daily news wrap-up set up for you. McWater's Effect, talking about Joe Rogan and Steve-O, forces Steve-O to rethink transgender. Black Conservative Perspective, We the People News, Barry Cunningham, Truth Bomb Mary, SGT Report, Bongino Report, more Barry Cunningham. A lot of great information here, folks. Just give me a few minutes to go ahead and put this together in my Rumble studio and get it all set up. And go ahead and take a break. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut, or a sandwich and a soft drink or a beer, or a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and just relax a bit and let me get this set up for you. And meet me back here in about 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll get this going. But in the meantime, I do want to thank you for being with me here. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.